Traffic Safety Commission meeting. Start off with the flag salute by Commissioner Richardson.
Yeah, please rise and join me in the flag salute.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We go with the roll.
Commissioner Ackerman is absent. Commissioner Carter?
Here.
Maddox?
Here.
Richardson?
Here.
And Sullivan?
Here.
Thank you.
Are there any public comments?
No.
They must still be out in traffic waiting to get in. And the consent calendar, we have nothing other than the minutes for the last meeting. If I get a motion.
So moved. Second.
Roll.
Commissioner Ackerman is absent. Commissioner Carter?
Aye.
Maddox?
Aye.
Richardson?
Aye.
And Sullivan?
Aye.
Thank you.
And then the business, proposed capital improvement program.
Must be you.
Is it on? Yeah. I can.
Can you guys turn the mic on the podium, please? Do you have a green light up there?
At the base of the,
No. Patrick, is there something wrong with the microphone? Let's try it now.
How about now?
there
we
we
go.
go.
There we go. Wow. I'm going to have to talk softly. Good evening, everyone. Commissioners, my name is Avlan Odviar. I'm with the department's capital improvement program. And for the item tonight, I'm just going to touch briefly on the proposed 5-year CIP project, CIP update, budget update. You guys have, I think, the sheets in your packet. Basically a first look. Of course, in May, we will have the workshops with the council and the public for an adoption in June and implementation on July 1st. So we crunched the numbers, and here they are. Again, in summary, this is all things CIP. This is what's going in the book right now. As compared to last year, it's largely the same. Slight increases across the board in the number of projects. Total cost at $814 million. I think that's up from about $790. And of course, with the 600 in fully funding for this, that's still a very strong and healthy support for the program. So we'll just go through some of the projects that I think are of interest to this commission, starting with traffic and signalization. The first two, of course, we're going to keep implementing the fiber optic program, the underground, and connecting all of our facilities, the traffic signals, as well as our facilities communicating back to City Hall to keep things efficient and safe. One thing to mention on there is the master plan is nearing completion, so we should have that in September of this year. A really good document at this point for as we implement other CIP projects. It's nice to have a guide or a master plan to help us decide the best way to implement these things, either standalone or as part of other projects. A couple traffic signals that have been under construction. The two listed there, both of them are about ready for completion, I would say, early this summer for an activation. I know we had one issue with one of those locations, but I suspect we'll get that all ironed out this summer. So on the same topic, earlier this year, congratulations, Nick, he hit a home run and got us about almost $4 million in highway safety improvement program funding. We're going to take about $500,000 of that and put it toward converting several locations, the ones you see here, the left-hand turns to protected permissive. The rest of that is going to go through, do a lot of improvements. I'm not going to go through these. Nick has an item, and he'll go through these in detail. But suffice it to say that $3.4 million is going to go a long way. Moving on to some of our local roads. These are some of the larger projects that we have in the works. The Diaz Road expansion and extension. basically converting or making improvements as necessary to Diaz Road toward ultimate build-out per the general plan. It's basically 4-lane divided major arterial from Rancho Cal Road up to Cherry Street. And as you know, this is ultimately going to be the western bypass. We've broken this out into 2 phases. The first phase is what we're working on now. That's up to Winchester. And we're looking at about summer of next year at the earliest to begin construction on this. This one has presented a lot of challenges with respect to EMWD as a large sewer line project that they're working on that we would want to basically follow, not go before. And of course, the trail adjacent to the creek that we want to keep independent from the sidewalk does prevent some challenges along with utility easements. But all in all, I think we'll get that all done and ready to go next summer. In the same area, we have the Murrieta Creek Bridge that will tie into the Diaz Road from Enterprise Circle on the other side of the creek. Also another challenging project. This is one of the last HBP projects, largely federally funded. Additionally, the Army Corps and Riverside Floods Phase 2 project, also heavy coordination there. Realistically, best case, I would say fiscal year 24-25 for beginning that construction. And of course, there's that middle section that needs to be widened. That one will probably be ready next summer. All of this will be coordinated. But as you can imagine, once these 3 are done, the circulation and the capacity at on the industrial side of Murrieta Creek is going to be much improved. And then lastly, making mention, thanks to Congressman Issa, he did earmark about $800,000 for the Judd Smith roundabout. We'll leverage that and get that going, essentially converting that 4-way stop to a roundabout similar to what we did at La Paz. This one's just getting started, so no real schedule at this point. Moving on to the freeway, Phase 2, yes, it is finally here. Long time coming. I think most of you know what it involves, so I'm not going to go through this. But I will say it is so here that the first working day is Monday, May 1st. Since January, we've been working hard on pre-construction activities, RFIs and submittals, and we are ready to break ground. If you've been out there lately, you've probably seen construction area signs and detour signs going up. There will be closures next week at night. And similar to what we did for the Temecula Parkway interchange, we'll be using our social media channels. We'll be updating the website and basically letting the folks know when the closures will be, traffic pattern changes, and of course progress. So about 2 years of construction there. But once that's complete, as you might imagine, that'll put a huge dent in what we see in the PM commute. Also on the freeway is the Ox Lane project that Temecula agreed to take on as part of the regional task force of moving I-15 through Temecula Valley. That's also my project. I am very close to finishing design on this. We are probably 200 or 300% plan checks in with Caltrans, so we are very close. The environmental is complete. I'm thinking we will advertise this summer and begin construction in fall. That's about 8 to 10 months worth of construction, a little bit south of the French Valley. I will definitely need to coordinate the closures and traffic control on those 2 projects. And Caltrans, as you may remember, are doing the other 3 Ox lanes from Rancho Cal to Winchester, and then southbound coming back the other way, Winchester to Rancho Cal, and Rancho Cal to Temecula Parkway. They've experienced a little bit of delay as well. But they did circulate their draft environmental document earlier this year. I would put them at about 1.5 years out before they get to construction. Coming back to our roadways, our local roads, one of my favorite projects. As a longtime resident, I can really appreciate the money that we've put into rehabbing our roads. As of late, we've been averaging about $3 to $5 million per year. And the city manager's office and the city council has been very good about maintaining that fulfillment and keeping it consistent so that our investments don't go awry. But looking ahead for the coming fiscal year, these are the sections of roads that we're looking at doing. For those of you who live in town, you know these are very good candidates for rehab. And of course, we will be doing another citywide slurry seal project. I do not know what neighborhoods are this year, but we'll be doing it same as we always have. Also, another good program, I think, is the Citywide sidewalks. This one is in response to about 5 to 10 years ago, we did the gap study that identified all the areas within town that we are actually missing sidewalk. And year by year, we've just been chipping away. Again, connectivity, accessibility. And these three we've been working on for a little while. I think it's safe to say that this fiscal year we might see all three of them, if not at least two of them, within construction. Also, again, another good investment at about $500 per year. The ADA transition plan, again, I want to say 5 to 10 years ago, we had the citywide survey of public rights-of-way as well as city facilities to identify all areas where accessibility was limited due to one thing or another. And year by year, project by project, we just start knocking those things out. This particular, when I list the ADA transition plan implementation, those are the standalone projects. But of course, as we do other projects such as the CRC and the MRC, we always look to that plan and take that opportunity to also make the improvements at those locations. And of course, what's safer than being able to ride your bike or walk at night? We do have the Great Oak Trail Lighting Project. I think you guys all know where that's at, but we'll install about 100 solar lights. What I have pictured there are not the ones we're going to use, but they will be solar, about 100 of them between Deer Hollow and Loma Linda along the trail there. And I believe, Brad, you can correct me if you want, I believe we did run the ones that we are selecting through the HOA at Wolf Creek, and we do have a buy-off from you guys as well. Yeah. I wanted to say summer, but realistically, I'll probably say toward the end of this year. Yeah, calendar year. Santa Gertrudis, we call this phase 2 because phase 1 was the portion that just finished from Inez to Winchester. This is just the undercrossing at Margarita Road. But I like this one because at that one crossing, once we get that in, you all know that the 17-mile loop, the northern leg and the western leg, will now become pretty continuous and off-road. This is one of the few locations that bicyclists and pedestrians have to get back up on the roadway. This one, I'd say we would finish design in fall and go right into construction. Some other projects, we continue to deploy the security cameras around town at our in our public areas. I think most recently we completed the ones out here at Old Town. The Somers Bend Park, I believe, got some, as well as the Park and Ride in town. Looking forward, the MRC, the CRC, Harveston Park, and Friendship Park will all see cameras. And of course, Fire Station 84, near and dear to everyone, that's going to get some love. It needs, as you can see, in addition to what I have listed there, it's also going to get some paint and some kitchen upgrades and things. Obviously, keeping our first responders healthy and happy is important for safety. I'm not going to go through these, but this is kind of a summary of what's been of late, what we've completed, and what we're working on. Just kind of a good list to have on file. This is pretty much all I wanted to touch on for the CIP. If you have any project or questions on projects, I'd be happy to answer them.
Yeah, wow, a lot to look forward there, and I think you covered most of the highlights. Just a few questions, I think they'll be pretty quick. First was on the Old Town parklets. I was wondering if we are converting parking spaces for that or reutilizing the former outdoor dining areas.
I do not know. I believe planning is taking the lead on that.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll be excited to see how those turn out. That looks like a fun project. I also saw, I think you covered most of the pavement management items. I saw an item in there for a pavement management program update, and I wanted to see, is that where we have the vehicle come out and measure the pavement condition everywhere?
It is. The last time we did it was about 6 years ago, and the requirement is every 5 years. Most people don't quite hit that, but it is we will be doing it this fiscal year, and it is a citywide survey, and as of late, the methodology is a vehicle with lasers that basically does curb to curb and does the PCI index, et cetera, generates recommended improvements and the cost that would be associated with that. As you know, that forms the backbone of how we choose what to rehab and when.
Yeah, excellent. Glad to see that being updated. My last question was about the storm drain pipe lining upgrade. I know our stormwater infrastructure was really put to the test with some extreme weather earlier this year, and maybe that's kind of a one-off thing, but I was curious if our stormwater management plan is pretty up to date or maybe due for a refresh.
So we didn't have a master plan for our stormwater, but we did start one
Okay.
last fiscal year. So most of the inventory has been done. It has slowly been migrated into the GIS system. We have it on a separate layer until we finalize it, but it is accessible for everyone. With that is an assessment of, a naming nomenclature. We're going to get into Lucity, and that will become just like the pavement part of the asset management. But with that being completed this year, and in combination with recent rains and previous sinkholes, we made the good decision to say there is a new project called storm drain CMP lining. And that is where typically, most of the failures that you see after a long time is due to rusted metal pipe. And they collapse or they're partially collapsed, and we really don't know about them until it rains really hard and the soil starts to go down the drain and to the point where the road collapses. So I think we allocated about $500,000 every other year to try and knock out what I think we have is about 20,000 linear feet of CMP or metal pipe.
All right. Now that answers every question on my list, so thank you for the excellent work.
Of course.
Yeah, I noticed on the sidewalk on Inez, on the west side of Inez there, I assume those will be tree removals on that side to put the sidewalk in on?
Yes, it will require that. And we've been working on that project actually for a couple of years. And when you get to places like this or Meadowview or Old Town, what is seemingly an easy project turns out to be a little bit more difficult. So we've been in touch with the HOA, and clearly they would like to not see trees removed, or if they do get removed, it's the same story that, we'll replace them, but nobody wants mature trees replaced with saplings. But we're continuing to work with them. Some of those trees are in the public right of way, but we'll get through that. But yes, it has been a challenge. In addition, there's a lot of utilities in that little grass area.
That's all I had.
Just got one question, a clarification or an explanation on the auxiliary. I know that we've been told about that before, but it's been such a long time. How's that auxiliary lane from Temecula Parkway to Rancho Cal going to work?
So how will it work?
Yeah, I mean,
It's basic.
the barriers, or, I mean, if I'm coming on Temecula, from Temecula Parkway, how does that, and I don't want to get off at Rancho Cal, is there a merge over, and how's that all thing work?
Yeah. There's two things here. The concrete barrier that you speak of, that's a French Valley collector distributor system. That is not something that we'll be doing at the aux lanes. An aux lane, just by definition, connects to an on-ramp and an off-ramp directly without having to enter the freeway. So if you enter the freeway, you'll see that, at some point you kind of merge onto the number 4 lane, you pass under Santiago Road, and then there's a 2-lane exit that you can get off at Rancho Cal. Imagine just a direct connector like that. It does two things. It reduces the friction between on and off traffic, and it does provide, although it's not supposed to, it's essentially, it makes for long on and off ramps, which gives people more opportunity to make the maneuver.
Right. Okay, very good, thank you. I think that's it. Thank you very much. This is
You're
good.
welcome. Thank you.
Highway Safety Improvement Program, Cycle 11 grant funding for traffic safety improvements.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good evening, Commissioners. This presentation is in regard to the HSIP Cycle 11 projects that we recently won through the HSIP grants. And Alvin mentioned it in his presentation, but we're going to take a deeper dive on the 4 projects during this presentation. So a little bit of a recap. The HSIP project, it funds local safety projects We submitted the grant on September 12th, 2022 last year. I believe we brought the 4 projects, it was 5 projects at that time, to you guys, I think around June or July of last year. In the end, we went for 4 projects. We won all 4. And 2 of the projects were identified in the LRSP, the Local Roadway Safety Plan. So the first project, it's the pedestrian signal equipment upgrade citywide. This is the second time we're doing this. The first one, we actually completed all the construction last year. So what we're basically doing is adding countdown signal heads. At the same time, we're also upgrading our traffic signal controllers, which is pretty important because we have a lot of antiquated ones, and this is going to help us move forward with all our future fiber optic projects as well. So it's kind of a twofold project, helps the pedestrians and then also helps us to move forward in communications. This project is around $550,000 total project cost with a 10% city match. We are going to be undertaking this in-house in order to save city funds and make us move quicker on the schedule. And then I'm hopeful completion summer 2024, but that's kind of dependent on a lot of Caltrans coordination and processing and long lead items on many pieces of equipment. But I'm hopeful. We're currently working on it. Second project. This is the major one, the big one. It's kind of 2 projects combined into one. It's the streetlight and signal communications upgrade project. Kind of the first project is upgrading 127 of the signals to LED safety lighting. As part of that as well, we're going to be upgrading signal hardware, wiring, and controller cabinets. About 21 of the signals are going to get completely rewired. They have a lot of old wiring starting to falter, so we're going to do that. And 6 locations will get the new state-of-the-art traffic signal cabinets. Our cabinets are pretty good, but we're starting to move forward to help us with future fiber communications into a better cabinet. So slowly we're going to do that, but that's going to take a long time. So this is our first foray into getting those cabinets. The second portion of this project is installing fiber optic communications and signal coordination timing upgrades. The fiber optics mainly going to be installed on Butterfield Stage Road and Inez Road. It's going to be about 20 signals. And we're going to install wireless communications at another 11 signals. We're going to go with wireless because it's pretty difficult to get to some signals. We have no conduit, and these are mostly in the Red Hawk area and a few one-offs throughout the city. So our goal is to try to at least get communications via wireless. This project total cost is about $3.2 million, and this one had a 24% city match. And this one will be going out to a consultant, so we'll be doing an RFP. We're working on that currently, and it'll be bid out there. And I'm hopeful for the end of 2025, but there's a lot of hurdles to jump through, but we're going to be pushing hard to get it done. So by the time 2 years later, the HSIPs come out again, we'll be ready to go for the next set. Project 3 is the pedestrian curb ramp upgrade. This one we're updating various school sites, pedestrian ramps. We have many of them that aren't ADA compliant. So this was a grant where we just requested $250,000 and there's a 10% city match. We'll be designing this one in-house as well. And we're hoping summer 2024 we can get this all designed and out to completed construction by then. In a lot of the school areas, we're thinking Helen Hunt Jackson. I know we've recently done some improvements there, but Paba Elementary, we're going to we identified some in the grant, but a lot of them got recently completed with our paving project, so we're going to go back and look at other locations. And then the other project is the bike lane upgrade project. This one we're looking to upgrade mainly the green bike legends on major corridors, biking corridors in the city. We have them kind of sporadic on big roads, but we want to kind of go through and make them all consistent on like Winchester and Temecula Parkway and things like that. It's around a $250,000 project, including a 10% city match. This one will be designing in-house as well, and we're trying to get that done by the summer of 2024 as well. This is a project summary of all those projects I just went through. As you can see, the total project cost is around $4.2 million, with about a $870,000 city match. And with that, staff's recommendation for this commission is to just receive and file this presentation.
No questions, and I'm sort of at a loss for words to come up with feedback, because it's like we got everything that we could have hoped for here. Just appreciate you bringing the report here, and we'll try to get the word out about all these wonderful projects.
Yeah, just echo the good work. 4 for 4. Maybe we should submit 5 next time. Easy for me to say, hard for you.
They're
to
getting
do,
harder
but-
and harder to win.
but
They're definitely.
They also like it when they see that, we're going to give you 4 and you're going to spend all the money and complete all the projects. That gives them trust in you to give you the next one, right?
Some of our past ones have taken a while, but we're finishing them up, and that's why we want to hit these ones hard. We've already had a preliminary meeting with Caltrans, letting them know, hey, we're ready to work on it, and so they see we're serious about it, so
Good work.
thanks.
Outstanding, thank you. Next up, the division reports, Police Department.
Yeah, do we hit the next slide there? This will detail the traffic collisions and citations written for the month of March. Oh, there we go. Month of March, about 1,100 citations were written. Pretty consistent number-wise. Let's see, hazard citations would be speeding, running red lights, things like that. 1185. Non-hazardous citations would be like registration, equipment violations. Seatbelts, the Click It or Ticket campaign is for next month. That's going to start in May. Currently, April is distracted driving, so that's probably why you're thinking that 31 citations might be low. The deputies aren't specifically focusing on that. Cell phone citations remain consistent, over 200 just for the month of March. Cell phones are a pretty big problem in Temecula. A lot of people commuting from San Diego and just trying to kill their time on the drive on the phone, and I don't know how people have not got the message that it needs to be hands-free. Parking citations, mainly the parking citations, we've done a couple revisions through our city citations, just kind of tweaking them to the deputies, what the deputies want to see on the citations, and the city's been real responsive with allowing us to quickly change those citations and get them out. The parking citations, many of them, or majority of the citations, are written here in Old Town, as you can imagine, all the parking issues that we have here, and the out-of-towners, visitors. Written warnings, 350, 349. So about 2,000 citations all told for March. Yeah, if we could go to the next slide there. DUI arrests, 37. I imagine, regrettably, that number will increase as the warmer months get here. Year to date, it's a little less than last year. We didn't have any DUI checkpoints in March, and I don't want to take my thunder away next month, but we had one here in Old Town on Front Street, April 7th, and that was a success. And we implemented a different method called the shoot method for conducting that checkpoint. And basically, what that involves is establishing a set number of vehicles to enter the secondary. So if you, for example, if you choose 5 cars, you just take the next 5 cars, you pull them off to the side, and you deal with those 5 cars, and then you release them at your leisure. That way you're not interrupting traffic like a traditional checkpoint where every single car has to pass through. And that worked phenomenal, I must say. It was my first time using that method here, and it worked really good here in Old Town. We are excited to venture to do a checkpoint like that on the north end of Old Town in the future. Know Your Limit campaign, the core team and the Metro deputies did a Know Your Limit campaign here in March, where they went around to the local establishments and met with people, talked with people, and it's more education than enforcement. Just getting people to voluntarily provide a breath sample, and then they would know how they're feeling, and then what sample they'd provide, and they would have a better gauge of where they would be at and not safe to drive. 2 traffic enforcement saturations. These saturations are typically always funded by OTS, Office of Traffic Safety. For this year, we were awarded the Southwest Station was awarded the largest amount of OTS funds. In fact, I constantly get calls from downtown, the coordinator through OTS, if we'd be willing to take on other stations' funds that they're unable to use. The department does not want to give back any money to Sacramento, so I gladly accept all the funds that we can get and put it to use here in Temecula. This is just a more detailed list of all the specific citations. I think Captain Durham can speak more of the uniform crime report. Obviously, that includes Part 1 crimes, vandalisms, thefts, burglaries, vehicle thefts, larceny, sexual assaults, homicides, things like that.
All right. Any questions? No. Only one comment, I guess. It appears that distracted driving cell phone is starting to climb back up. They're not getting it. I guess this isn't, I don't have my phone right. This isn't hands-free when you got it on a speakerphone. Hey, you know, they don't get it. You know?
Yeah, they don't get it, and a lot of times they'll say, "Oh, I was looking at the clock" or whatever, but
Yeah.
It just can't be in your hand. If I could address address you guys, our hope is the new speed survey gets approved for Pechanga Parkway. Pechanga Parkway is a Pechanga Raceway, as we affectionately call it. Our survey is running close to the 7-year maximum without a letter. So hopefully we can maybe just push it along quickly and get it to council for approval quickly. I don't want to have to give away any citations for Pechanga, or maybe you guys have any information on that?
Yeah, I can speak to that. We just finished the agenda report for council. It's going to be going to the May 25th, the second council meeting in May, so it's ready to go, and it'll be approved then.
Very good.
See, there you go.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Jason or CHP?
Good evening. Thanks for having me again. So the first slide, let's make sure I get the right report there. Yeah, okay. So 7 child safety seats installed, 8 traffic safety presentations. So again, that's our Age Well, Drive Smart, Start Smart, Distractive Driving, and bicycle and pedestrian safety. 3 community traffic safety booths, and then an Explorer open house. So we're looking to reopen our Explorer program for kids 15 to 21 years old. Huge success. I was hoping to get like maybe 5 kids, and we had about 20 kids
Wow.
show up to our open house, and that was just mostly Great Oak kids, so we're hoping to expand it. May 5th is our application NLT date for them, so anyways, hopeful to get that going soon. 777 citation issued 1,320 total traffic enforcement contacts. We had an electric bike complaint on Morgan Hill by Tony Tobin Elementary School. Basically, high school kids ripping up and down the sidewalks. Those bikes will do, if you're not familiar, 25 miles an hour easily. So we had a little education out there and some visual enforcement to help take care of that. Just some other things that came along I thought it interesting to throw in there. So March 25th, they had a Cars and Coffee event, and they've had this event a couple times. So we were able to find out when it was, and we were able to go out there, pairing with the sheriffs, their street racing team, and provide some deterrence to them and remind them that we're here. Every month we have a SEU, a Special Enforcement Unit campaign. Unfortunately, when we had it scheduled this year is when the President of the United States came into town, so he took priority and took our motors away to that. So we did have to cancel that. We did notice an increase in our fatalities on SR 74 between the 15 and the 215, so we're increasing patrols there, as well as wine country. I was out on wine country on one of our first sunny days after the rain, and it was just insanity out there. So we're increasing our patrols out there too. I thought it also interesting not in here, but on my notes, 2 street racing details. We had 19 contacts, 1 impound. And on one of those details, there was 50 bikes going down the 15 freeway, 50 motorcycles. We're able to get there, try and make a stop. One motorcycle decided he didn't like us, and he decided to take off. So short pursuit down southbound on the 15 came about, but we were able to take him safely into custody. And then we were able to use 14602.7 of the vehicle code. It's a fairly new impound where it's a judge's order to impound the bike for 30 days. So once that gets around to that he's lost his bike for 30 days, that's pretty fun for us. As far as staffing, I know that I'd like to bring that up. So we actually got 2 new officers starting April 1st, and then we have 2 more. We just got a transfer list coming out September 1st. I did lose 2, but hey, it'll keep me even, and I'll take what I can get.
How many are you down right now?
I'm down about 10 right now. So I'm about 37, and I should have 47. We do have a distracted driver campaign tomorrow, so put cell phones down tomorrow. As soon as you talk about cell phones, it reminded me of that.
Mine's all hands-free.
For DUIs, we had 36 DUI arrests last month, 23 work collisions, and obviously, like I always talk about, we'd like to try and get them before they crash, but March had a lot of rain, which provided some challenges for us. Our traffic collisions remain fairly constant or consistent. We almost always about 150 total. So we had 94 non-injury, 60 injury, 2 fatalities, and as of year to date, knock on wood, we have had 5 fatalities. And then our 2 fatalities were northbound 215 south of 74, which was an auto versus pedestrian, and then SR 74 at River Road, which was a left turn in front of a vehicle right-of-way violation. And that's all I have. Any questions?
Any? No?
Yeah, just really happy to hear the Explorer program coming back. I was curious if that's is that aimed more at high school age or community college or?
High school, you have to be 15 to 21. And 21 really is the phasing out, because by that point, we would like you to have an application in. But if you know anyone that would like to join, I'm curious to see how many people we do have sign up. Mm-hmm. And if we are over 15, we will get a waiting list. But it's exciting because to me, it keeps the kids out of trouble, kind of gives them some direction. Not all of them will go on law enforcement, mm-hmm. But if you're thinking about it, hey, might as well decide now that's not the path you want then later on. And for those that do want it, it's a good path and a good start.
Yeah, and I think I heard down 10 staffing, but 15 to 20 applicants. So this seems like a ripe opportunity for people, yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Okay, next up is Director Report. I'm sorry, the Traffic Engineer's Report. Yeah, my glasses on. We already heard enough from him. No.
Okay, all right. As far as the director's report goes, we wanted to make sure that the commissioners were aware that the Nicholas Road Extension Project is part of the Somers Bend development. That'll be going from, all the way from Joseph Road and connecting to Butterfield Stage where they built the new park and ride. So that is kicking off. There's a pre-construction meeting on May 9th. So there's going to be CMS boards that are going to be set out there 2 weeks prior, and you're going to start seeing some work on the street improvements starting at Joseph Road and to where Kaya Gersol kind of makes a turn. And then they'll complete the rest of the street improvements. And then lastly, next year, because this is going to be a year-long project, at least a 2-year project, they'll do the culverts and the final connection. So that's happening here soon. So you'll see a lot of traffic control. You'll see a lot of probably questions and residents talking about it.
Very good. Thanks, that's it? Mm-hmm. And you didn't have anything else for the Traffic Engineer? And Commissioners' reports?
I just had a couple things for staff, really. I've been finishing up my coaching at Great Oak High School, and so every evening between 5 and 6, I drive Nighthawk Pass back to Butterfield Stage, and between 5 and 6, it's 5 or 6 cycles of the light, people waiting to turn left. I'm wondering if we can look at that and adjust timing. I know the configuration is it's a single left lane, it's going to always be that, but now we have vehicles going high speed in the right lane through the intersection, hanging illegal U-turns and coming back. I'm seeing that, so it's a concern.
Did you say that was at 5 p.m.?
Pardon?
5 p.m.?
Between 5 and 6 p.m.
5 and 6 p.m.
Maybe closer to 6, but it's not school traffic, it's commuter traffic, definitely. And I don't know if you can just pull data from the data system or so you don't have to go out and do an observe, but I think you'll see we have a really high volume there and not much cross traffic on Butterfield that would warrant the short time it is now.
We'll have to field check that, but
Yeah.
we'll figure it
The
out.
other thing, the main question I get from people who know I'm on the commission the last 3 weeks is, what's up with the duck pond? The color is not
Okay.
appealing to many of our residents.
Absolutely.
Is it an outcome of the weather that we're still?
Well,
still
it
settling
was
in?
the storm season that affected the Rancho Highlands development, and so sediment does go through there. It's a natural creek, so that is the way it's supposed to function. Now, of course, they did have some blowouts on the construction side that contributed to extra sediment, but we did have a major storm season that we hadn't experienced before. So we did receive complaints. Cal EPA even called us about the duck pond. But the developer there is well aware of it, and they are going to take care of it financially, and they're going to pay us to actually do it because we're the ones that take care of the duck pond. So you have to pull the sediment out, has to sit, has to dry out. You can't just haul it away yet, and then you have to load it by truck and get it out of there. So our maintenance staff wanted to wait until the last storm of the season. We think it's over, so they'll be starting on that pretty soon.
Thank you for that update.
I just wanted to report this last Saturday, Wolf Creek Homeowners Association had a public safety fair. Highway Patrol, sheriffs, fire were there. We had over 350 residents attend that event. It was very successful. It was our first one after a 3-year break from COVID, so we're hoping next year to be back to our normal 500 to 600. And Michael Alford was there with his team, and the city sent their aquatics team, so they were all well received.
Yeah, last month I was invited to help cut the ribbon at the new Metro Police Station just down the hall. Chairman Carter and I were given a sort of a tour of the new office, and I was given a little bit of an education about how our policing operations have been evolving over the last several years. So that was really good to hear. I love seeing our officers out there, out and around Old Town, building that rapport with our community and the local business owners. And then last weekend, I was at the city's Arbor Day event at the other side of Old Town, Sam Hicks Monument Park. Another great event put on by the city. And when I was there, it really struck me how much that area has transformed in just a couple of short years. Because it really wasn't that long ago that that park was looking a little worse for wear, but it's really turned around, and I think it's a huge credit to TCSD and Metro Police that they were able to revitalize that area, and it's a place that families and people of all ages want to visit again. So just wanted to highlight a couple of the positive things happening in Old Town. That's it for me.
I have nothing other than just for the city, May 9th, the next city council meeting that we're supposed to attend. Commissioner Maddox will be sitting in for me.
Okay, thank you very much.
And other than that, anything else? Anybody? Oh, geez. Hearing nothing else, I'd like to adjourn, but I'd have to get everybody to say yeah, so.
We're all out of here already.
Yeah, until our next meeting on Thursday, May 25th. We are adjourned.